Following the Chiefs' victory over the Chicago Bears, Travis Kelce and his teammates celebrated with a dance in the locker room. On Friday, August 22nd, the atmosphere inside the Chiefs' locker room evolved into a full-fledged party, with music, dancing, and cheers resonating throughout the space. At the heart of all this excitement was the celebrated tight end, Travis Kelce, who not only performed exceptionally on the field, but also became the very essence of the high-energy celebration. From the moment the game concluded, it was clear the Chiefs had achieved a convincing win over the Bears. Arrowhead Stadium erupted with cheering fans, and players joyfully ran onto the field. However, this was merely a prelude to the events that unfolded inside the locker room. Travis Kelce, who had a standout game with numerous crucial catches, spearheaded the team's celebration. He walked into the locker room wearing his signature number 87 jersey, his eyes bright and a broad smile on his face. Surrounding him, teammates such as Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, and many other stars were also prepared to celebrate. A large portable speaker was switched on in the center of the locker room. The music played loudly, with energetic hip-hop beats blending with shouts and the sounds of hands tapping on chairs and lockers. Kelce immediately became the focus when he began to dance, performing moves that had become popular on social media. It was a display of improvisation, energy, and fun, characteristic of Kelce's personal style. It wasn't just Kelce. The entire locker room seemed to be in a festive state. Players opened water bottles, spraying them into the air as if they were champagne at a championship celebration. Some players even held up their phones to live stream, sharing the special moment with millions of fans globally. Patrick Mahomes, the team's star quarterback, unexpectedly took on the role of DJ. He went over to the speaker, chose the most popular songs, and cranked up the volume to its maximum level. When the song turned down for what began to play, the entire room erupted with energy. Kelce leaped onto a chair, waving his hands to encourage his teammates to join him. Chris Jones, the formidable figure on the defensive line, readily joined in with the rhythm. His powerful jumps caused the entire room to vibrate. The unity among the different team units, offense, defense, and especially the special teams, created a cheerful scene that showcased their strong teamwork. There was no longer any difference between star players and reserves. Everyone was a single, unified family. While the players danced and cheered, many emotional moments were also captured. A few of the younger, drafted players initially stood hesitantly in a corner of the room, but were soon brought into the dance circle by Kelce and Mahomes. There's no distance here, no strangers. We're a family, and family celebrates together, Kelce exclaimed, his voice resonating through the room. The coaches, who were typically stern, could not help but smile. Andy Reid, the esteemed head coach, sat in a chair and watched his players celebrate, occasionally tapping his feet to the music. It was a scene that highlighted the team's special bond, where discipline and joy can coexist. It came as no surprise to anyone that Travis Kelce was the focal point of the celebration. With his vibrant, humorous, and energetic nature, he consistently knows how to spread positive energy. Throughout the informal party in the locker room, Kelce continuously energized the atmosphere, from dancing and singing along to the music to playfully teasing his teammates. A video recorded by a teammate captured Kelce dancing to "Shake It Off," the hit song by his famous girlfriend, Taylor Swift. The entire locker room immediately broke out in laughter and cheers. It was a humorous and personal moment that demonstrated his confidence and happiness both on and off the football field. Sports analysts suggest that the strong team spirit and positive environment in the locker room are key factors in the Chiefs' sustained success. While many other teams have achieved victories, few have fostered the same level of connection and happiness as the Chiefs. You can clearly see that they're not just teammates, they're brothers, one sports journalist remarked, adding, and Travis Kelce, along with Mahomes, are the core of that culture. After nearly an hour of dancing, singing, and sharing these moments, the locker room gradually settled down. The players changed their clothes and got ready to leave the stadium, their faces still showing their happiness. Kelce was the last one to exit the locker room, patting each teammate on the shoulder and taking a few more photos to preserve the memory. "We have a lot of work to do, a lot of games to win," Kelce stated to reporters outside. "But tonight, we're going to enjoy this win." The victory against the Chicago Bears did more than just add to their season's point total. It also reinforced the bond within the entire Chiefs team. Inside the locker room, Travis Kelce and his teammates transformed the post-game period into an exuberant celebration where all distinctions vanished, leaving only the shared joy of victory. With their current performance and dynamic team spirit, the Chiefs are sending a distinct message to the rest of the NFL. They are not only a formidable force on the field, but also a united, energetic family, a quality that could once again lead them to the championship. If a team must play a third, inconsequential preseason game, the Bears at least have the advantage of facing the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs. With both teams anticipated to play their starters initially, they can at least be certain their first-string players will be challenged by top-tier talent in some instances. The most significant test will undoubtedly be for the Bears' defense as a whole, because facing the starters means competing against Patrick Mahomes. That is, unless Chiefs coach Andy Reid is being deceptive and intended to use all starters except for his primary quarterback. This would not be the first time a coach has made such a move. Even if Mahomes plays for only 1 or 2 series before Gardner Minshew comes in, they would still be facing a quarterback of starting caliber. Minshew posted a 93.9 passer rating over his first 3 seasons before experiencing difficulties with the Colts, Raiders, and in his last year with the Eagles. He might frequently face George Karlaftis. Karlaftis has accumulated 24.5 sacks in his initial 3 seasons, with 8 recorded last year. Wright's performance in the preseason and training camp has not been optimal. At one point, Ben Johnson mentioned they held him out because his movements were not fast enough. They might have thought he had an injury. On another occasion, offensive line coach Dan Roushar gave criticism about his performance. Wright needs to demonstrate that he is performing at the pace required for the regular season, and Karlaftis will provide that challenge. Wright is, in theory, still competing for a starting quarterback position, though the reality of that remains uncertain. There could be some concerns regarding his speed. He possesses ample height at 6 feet 4 inches. Tyquan Thornton was not productive for New England, but as a Chiefs receiver, he will now pose a deep threat, and his 4.28-second 40-yard dash time confirms his speed. It is his route-running abilities that the Chiefs need to be concerned about, but preventing Thornton from creating separation will be a valuable test for Wright. In a regular season contest, Jaquan Brisker would have plenty of opportunities to face Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Travis Kelce. That provides excellent preparation for the regular season. The question is whether they would actually risk playing the 36-year-old Kelce in a preseason game. If not, expect former Bears tight end Robert Tonyan to be an opponent Brisker will face. Tonyan was a letdown in Chicago, but it might have been more a situation where the Bears did not know how to effectively use a second tight end. They have not managed that correctly since 2018 and are only now hoping to do so with 12 personnel formations. He could benefit from some experience against high-quality quarterback play. Without criticizing Stevenson and Wright, the iron sharpens iron principle suggests that you improve by facing skilled quarterbacks, and he's been unable to gain from practicing against Jalen Johnson because of Johnson's injury. Now, he might be lining up opposite Trent McDuffie, an all-pro in his second and third seasons who is just as skilled as Johnson, if not more so. As a strong-side linebacker, he will have some matchups against running back Isaiah Pacheco or with Kelce. Sanborn should have the opportunity to test his run-stopping abilities against Pacheco, who runs with a physical style at 5 feet 10 inches and 216 pounds. Very often, Reid has paid close attention to his running game in the final preseason game. Sanborn could face a significant test if this trend holds. Not all of his plays will be against Chris Jones, but if the Chiefs decide to let their dominant defensive lineman play, many of the repetitions could be against the 6-time All-Pro. What will be more compelling is if Jones is positioned across from his former teammate, Joe Thuney. It might be unexpected to see either of those 2 players on the field for an extended period. Jackson could benefit from the practice against a skilled defensive tackle. It is less certain if he will get that opportunity if he is lined up against former Bears defensive tackle Mike Pennell. The Chiefs must perceive some potential in him, but the Bears did not see it when he was at Hallis Hall. It is a contest against a superior secondary. Although the Chiefs were ranked in the middle for pass defense last year, they achieved this while their secondary contended with a high volume of passes, so they would naturally concede more yardage.